So I pulled from the franchise, the window franchise, and we ended up getting tickets back home. And it only took a couple of days and I threw him out. Um, he was so mad at me for, throwing him out and everything. But meanwhile, I wasn't even supposed to come back from Nashville. And it was a 16-day trip that I have very little memory of. And while we were there, when he left me for dead in Pensacola, every time he did something, he would try to flip the script. And after leaving me for dead in Pensacola, Florida, and me waking up to the pile of Xanax by my head, an email got sent to my lawyer slandering me, accusing me of things that were absolutely not true. And that was the second most important person to me that got taken down, because that person was a dear friend. Somebody that I really, really looked up to. That was a great loss. Okay, so anyway, when we got back, I threw him out, and I wanted a clean break. But that's when the well check started. The cops started showing up at my door for well checks. She wished to remain anonymous, and that is his friend. Things were twisted around in the Clearfield Police Department. I'm not afraid to say that, but I know that things were said about me that were untrue just by correspondence that I got back. And that will get rectified. Anyway, when I reported St. George to the detective, it was never investigated. And had it ever been investigated, I never would have let him back into my house, because it would have been proven at that point that there were, in fact, 2, possibly 3 attempts on my life, because my car accident was not a car accident. Something happened to the right front tire of my car. I will go to my grave saying that. And what really sucks about that is I have a careless driving ticket for that when it was in no way careless driving. Basically, my life got steamrolled. So to pick up the pace of this, once he came back into my life after the franchise, I threw him out in February because it was all fraud, or I was just being used to get that. One thing that there was a $34,000 line of credit that he was trying to get his hands on. And also, I didn't have, while I was left in Pensacola, an Airbnb was booked for Iowa. So I wasn't supposed to wake up, and they would have had a window franchise, and that would have been it. But anyway, and it would have looked like a drug overdose. I know that was the plan all along, and why they've continually tried to call me the ugly druggie, and that's why I'm glad that I see a doctor every month that can prove that that is not true. When he came back in May, there was the St. George trip, and then after that, we were going on a dream vacation to Mexico. Again, that saved my life. I wasn't coming back from Mexico, and I was protected. I was divinely protected. Somebody called 911 in St. George in fear for my life. He was driving erratically, and that was when the first call was called in. We were followed from St. George, and it was light. Didn't get pulled over to being in Arizona, and it was pitch black, but a second call came in. And when they got him out of the car, the one thing that they were worried about wasn't anything other than the protective orders that were against him. We were arrested Um, long story short, we were arrested, but that arrest saved my life. I was not coming back from Mexico. I did not have a passport. The car reservation that he emailed to me was only for 3 days. We were going to be in Mexico for 3 days, stopping in Vegas the first night. So, and dumb me, because when I lived in Southern California, you could walk over the border to Tijuana and come right back. I was like, do I need to bring my birth certificate? He was like, no, you don't need it. And the car was being returned in 3 days back to Salt Lake. So I wasn't coming back from Mexico. So there's another one that wasn't investigated. And when we got back, actually he left me in Arizona. When we got released from jail, he left me in Arizona, got on an Uber, was on his way to Las Vegas, already had a plane ticket purchased, and that friend was picking him up from the airport. And then I ended up Ubering myself to Vegas so we could get back to the rental car that ended up on my credit card because his didn't work at the kiosk. And the original reservation was 3 days. And then because of jail and everything else, like, it maxed everything. And then I got another invoice from him for an additional $1,400. But no accountability on his part because he hung himself and he's dead. But I'm still being stalked by his friend, being blamed for his death, being threatened, and I'm tired of it. I would like to heal, move on with my life, and whatever God is calling me to do, I want to do it. He kept me alive for something. I don't know if I was not coming back from Mexico and neither was he. I don't know what was going on, or does his friend know what was going on. But he also gave me away to a cellmate. Like, gave me away my phone number, and then I had that person calling me. So that was June. My birthday is in July. He assaulted me, and then August 8th, he assaulted me again. And when I had surgery on my pinky, he was staying at my mom's. That's when I asked if he could stay here. But the day of my surgery, I came here to see if he would accept any accountability. And I stayed the night, and it was, I love you, and da-da-da-da. No, I'm sorry. No accountability for anything. So the next day, he was like to my mom, can she stay the night? Can she stay the night? She's like, she's my daughter. She can stay whenever she wants. But in that week that he stayed with her, a lot of things transpired that when he came back with a vengeance and was underneath me, she didn't believe that he was underneath me, because all he kept saying to her was, what do I got to do to get her back? I love her so much. What do I got to do to get her back? I love her so much. And then it turns to him filing a fake protective order against me, accusing me of things that are despicable. I did nothing but love this guy, and the worst thing that I ever did is say something mean. I never touched him. I loved him, and I fell in love with a lie or potential or whatever it was. But this person, regardless, didn't love me back, was trying to kill me. He brought up Romeo and Juliet. We were going to have to go Bonnie and Clyde. If we wanted to be together, we were going to have to move out of the state. You know, all of these things too. He stays at my mom's, and he was here 6 nights, and then he didn't come back one night. She texted him to see if he was coming back. I knew he was up to old shenanigans at that point. But also on my protective order, it states that his friend called my mom, spoke with her on the phone, and she came and picked up clothes. But when she spoke with my mother on the phone, she gave another name and saying she was from somewhere else. And so there's just a lot of crazy stuff. I was told that this person's viewing was the day before he died. My mother was called and told that all the hospitals had been called because he was suicidal and was going to be reported missing in the morning. And that night was found in a very open area where there's not a lot of traffic, but I was told, I have a text, that it was blunt force trauma to the head and fentanyl. And then I was surprised when I was in court against the friend, it was, he hung himself. And now I'm being blamed for him hanging himself. But tired of being stalked. I'm tired of profiles being created under fake names and doing nothing but slandering me, taking my pictures from my profile, putting names all over it. I'm sick of it. I just want people to not have to go through what I have gone through. And I have a lot of pieces to pick up. Like I said, I had a high credit score, and now my credit is maxed. I mean, and I have it in black and white that he was spending my money. So, yeah, he spent my money and I'm in debt, but you know what? Shame on me. Now it's time for me to get through this, heal, and help others get through it as well. God has pulled me all the way through this. I give him all the glory. He has saved me for something bigger than me. And thanks for listening.